welcome back, guys, to Known Oceans Travel. Today, I am here with my best friend Emma. We went to school together, and we went and did a trip to Lisbon and Barcelona. We dubbed it Lisbonona in 2018. So we are going to give a quick rundown of this entire trip. So we booked our flights in the May, and one of the tips that I have written on the blog, you will see it for the tips for flying and in a couple of the cost overviews as well. You will know that I am a big fan of booking individual flights sometimes as opposed to return flights. So Emma, I think, can testify to how nerve-wracking it can be trying to book them all before they notice that you're booking the flights and the prices go up. We ended up flying with Ryanair over, I think.
From Dublin to Lisbon.
From Dublin to Lisbon, and we flew from Lisbon to Barcelona with TAP Portugal, and we got great food with those.
I remember being so shocked with them handing us sandwiches. We were like, we get food?
Yeah.
What is this? This isn't Ryanair.
It was fantastic, actually. And then I think we flew Ryanair back to
yeah, I think so.
Back to Dublin. So we headed away at the end of the summer as well. So it was kind of the end of the touristy season, which was kind of a good thing for us too, because we both work in hospitality at the time. The joys of living in Connemara.
Exactly.
So yeah, Emma, do you want to tell me a bit about our accommodation? Because it was the most nerve-wracking experience for me.
Yeah.
So
I remember when we were trying to find the hotel in Lisbon, and it was at a corner, and we had to go up, and they told us it was across from something.
Yeah.
And now the hallway looked a little bit dodgy.
Yeah.
And the doors looked a little dodgy, but when we actually got to the room, it was perfect. It was fine.
It was fab. Yeah.
But I mean, if you're not staying in the room, why would you need a big room? So it was fine. And there was a safe which you were able to put your cameras and stuff in when you didn't need them. So that was handy.
Yeah.
But you took your camera with you everywhere. So it was more like if we were going out for dinner and you didn't bring the camera, you could put it in the safe.
Yeah.
Or just passports and stuff. We put the passports in the safe.
Yeah. That was really beneficial.
Do you remember the incident when we came back and the door was a little open?
Yeah, the room.
And it was kind of central, but we just kind of put it down to housekeeping.
Yeah, the housekeeping had forgotten the room key in the room, and I was probably an anxious wreck for the entire remainder of the Lisbon trip. Just because
I remember
of that.
You were like, we have to get a new hotel, and I was like, we're fine.
We have to leave. We have to leave. Don't feel. No. And the thing was, it was housekeeping. I went down and I checked with reception, and it was housekeeping. The hotel I will link. But it was so central. It was actually pretty good we were 4 nights in Lisbon, I think.
Do you remember that little archway which everyone takes a picture of, and it goes on to the square? It's literally like a 2-minute walk from there.
Yeah, it's
like it was really central. Close. And we could literally just walk out of the hotel door and walk like straight down, and we were at a really cheap restaurant straight away.
Yeah.
So that was very handy.
We were on like the main shopping street, I think it seemed, and like it was good. The only thing was it was on pedestrian streets, so we had to get dropped off near it, and they had to start giving us directions all like around this corner, and it was a bit mad, but so that was our accommodation. Our flights were relatively cheap because we were booking all one-way trips, and we then had to decide on what to do in Lisbon. Barcelona, we had an awful lot more planned, but Lisbon, definitely, it was kind of get there and decide
what to do.
Decide on what to find, which was very unlike me, definitely, for traveling. But I think the first day
we went on the hop on hop off bus tours, and we found loads of things that we actually wanted to go see.
I will link all of the like main stops and stuff as well below, but we had a lot of fun on those bus tours. Towards the end,
remember when I fell asleep?
towards the
It
end
was
it
so
may have
hot.
gotten a little bit boring for some people, but yeah, the heat I
It
think
was just
really
really
getting to
hot.
Emma.
Make sure you have sun cream. It was really, really hot.
Yeah, it was absolutely boiling in Lisbon. And the day that we arrived, we were in like travel clothes, not shorts.
Oh, we were in jeans and everything. Oh my god,
And
yeah.
we couldn't change. So yeah, if that was to happen again, I would try and get to the hotel whatever time I'm supposed to check in at.
So you can change and
Yeah.
be comfortable.
Yeah, definitely. The activities then in Lisbon, we went to the huge castle on top of the hill as well the second day. Now, that was another one that we just discovered while we were actually there.
We discovered that when we were on the bus, because you
Yeah,
remember we went up by it and we are like, that's really cool. And then we were like, you know what, we actually have to go and see this.
yeah,
So we walked up to it.
yeah.
Do you remember
And
the peacocks?
yes, and I remember the steps up to it. I'll never forget the steps up to it. Emma's very, very fit, like, you know, does all her workouts. I do not. So those steps, Emma just flew up, and I was kind of
Now,
halfway up going, yeah.
I was tired at the end. It was tough. So maybe get a bus or get the cool little like trains.
Yeah, no, I remember that. And the
Yeah.
graffiti was incredible as well. Artwork is
Oh,
such
it
a huge
was.
thing around the entire city, which is fantastic because it just gives such a good vibe, and like it's such a good place for young people, I think, as well, because as we move on to food and drink, everything was so cheap.
So
Everything.
cheap.
So cheap. Like lunch, dinner, whatever you were having, it was deadly. Like you could
I
walk
remember
all
one
over the
dinner
city.
and it was like we had pasta and it was like €4
Yeah.
for a full dinner.
And lunch as well. The sandwiches were like 2.50, and like it was
Oh, and they were
huge.
huge.
Neither of us
And we
could
got
finish
chips
them.
and everything with them. Like I remember us being like, we can't finish this.
Yeah, we got too much food.
Yeah.
So
It was
the
it was
city,
great though.
it was so handy, definitely, as students, because we didn't have a lot of money. You know, we were about to go into college, and
Yeah.
you know,
I wasn't too panicked because everything was so cheap in Lisbon.
yeah,
Everything. I didn't feel like I had to sacrifice anything or borrow money off anyone. I was able to get by with the very little that I had,
yeah, yeah,
which was
and that
great.
was
Even
it
the
was
Ubers
yeah,
were quite cheap there as well.
yeah, and we were splitting them between two as well.
Yeah.
So even as a solo trip, it definitely is worth it, but going with a few people makes it so much cheaper again. Um, and you are seeing a completely different side to Portugal than Albufeira. The city was fantastic to walk around. Everything was so close together. So we could get from point A to point B very quickly. It's beautiful as well. If like for Instagram, it makes your Instagram look incredible. Like incredible.
It does. We got very good pictures.
We got very,
Especially
very good
down
pictures.
by the remember at night after what was it after the night we had the drinks?
Yes.
Yeah. And we walked down to the square. I can't remember what it was called, but it's a famous square.
Yeah.
And it was all lit up and it was right beside the sea.
Yeah.
Do you remember the steps down to the sea? And that was fab.
Yeah.
Which was really close to the hotel as well.
Yeah. And everything is just lit up at night. And it's not like a New York lit up. It's just a very like warmly lit, you know, the weather is nice, and it's an old city. They had a earthquake and they ended up rebuilding everything. And even though it was rebuilt, it was still such an old town feel. It wasn't a crazy busy. It was great for traveling because you really got to see the real, I would say, the real Portugal. I feel.
Yeah.
I really don't feel like the Algarve is real Portugal, but saying that, I also haven't been, and I don't think I will. But the castle was definitely fantastic. And then what we did on the last day that we were there, it was a Sunday. We got up really early and we got the train out to the beach.
Oh, that was fab.
Yeah, and the train out to the beach the tickets were quite cheap. It was just a
They were,
normal like
yeah.
metro ticket. The trains were packed out of it though because it was a Sunday.
Oh, I remember we were standing for the
Yeah,
majority, and like it was quite a long. It wasn't long, but it was a long train ride. It
it
was
was
about 40 minutes.
about 40 minutes, I'd say, on the train.
Yeah.
The beach was absolutely packed out of it, but we managed to find,
Oh my god,
yeah.
packed.
Now Emma swam. I didn't because at the time swimsuits were not my thing. But you did go swimming, and it was, even though it was busy, it was nice to get away
It was
from the city as
nice.
well.
There was a lovely inflatable, like little water park thing on the beach, just a bit off for you to swim over to it. I'm not a very strong swimmer. I would have loved to go over to it.
Yeah,
If I went now, I'd be able to go over to it.
yeah,
But then I wasn't too much of a strong swimmer, which I will talk more about in the Barcelona one
yeah.
with my
Yeah, we
experience
will
with
get
that.
we will definitely get to that. But yeah, as a recap, I think definitely I would 100% recommend Lisbon for
I would go back to
even,
Lisbon. I'd go back to Lisbon with my partner.
yeah, even,
He's never been, and I'd
yeah,
like to show him around it.
yeah, I would go again with Jack. Or even just a weekend away. It can be a sun holiday because the weather is so good in it, but
Yeah.
definitely
It's
if
not
you
a
were,
beach holiday.
it's not a beach holiday. You can
No.
go to the beach, but it's not a beach holiday. So yeah, I think I think that's the whole of Lisbon.
Great.
Yeah, so watch out because we have part 2 coming, Barcelona and everything to do with that trip. So yeah, thank you so much, Emma, for coming on.
Thanks, Roma.